This meeting is no longer being recorded.
हेलो 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 नहीं नहीं, ये आ रही है आवाज, देखो दोबारा कनेक्ट करो। हाँ नहीं, ऑडियो आ रहा है क्या? हाँ आ रहा है। आप करो जरूर। ठीक है, ओके, इट इज कमिंग।
Anuji, we can hear you.
Let us everyone check the mic, or don't get distracted by what is coming in chats. Huh? So let us all check what we are, our mics. Yeah. Voice
Hello.
Amita ji, good.
Hello. Hi.
Amita ji listening.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. All good. $150. Yeah. Still have about
करके कर
तो
सकते
वहां
हो।
रखेगा ना फोन को, वहां आवाज आ रही है
स्क्रीन कैप्चर यूज करके कर सकते हो।
साइलेंट करके रखिएगा वहाँ पे।
ऑडियो आएगा कि नहीं पता नहीं।
अक्षित आवाज आ रही है?
नहीं।
आ रही है, चलिए ठीक। वीडियो नहीं है, वीडियो सुनना है, ऑडियो तो आ जाएगा।
ठीक है,
कैप्चर में
ओके।
धीरज जी
हाँ सर।
जल्दी करिए, टाइम नहीं।
आपको यू आर फ्रॉम एक्सीलरेटिंग ग्रोथ इन फूड इंडस्ट्री, तो मैं कोर्स आई एम मेकिंग इट कोर्स, ठीक है।
किया तो तब तो आना ही पड़ेगा भाई, एज ऑफ नाउ ऐसा।
ना
4 minute countdown everyone.
All good, Amitabh? Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
पार्टिसिपेंट से
This meeting is being recorded.
Philip is not connected.
क्या दिक्कत है? तो
कॉपी पेस्ट कर दो जी, इसको मैं जरा शेयर कर
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you log in again?
We can.
Your name is coming wrong.
कैसे हो रहा है लॉगिन क्या?
It's coming Mohammad Taz Walia. Can you just log in and put in your name,
थोड़ा
please?
सा थोड़ा सा
इसरार सर, ये आपका नाम यहाँ पे कैसे आ रहा है फिलिप के लिए?
पता नहीं, आप जाने।
आपका नाम आ रहा है ना शायद। कौन है?
ये फिलिप है फन स्कूल से।
तो
आपने आपके लॉगिन से किए होंगे।
बोलिए तो
Philip, it should not be this name.
फोन कर देना डुप्लीकेट के लोगों
ट्राई कर, उनसे बात कर,
उन्हीं से बात करिए।
नहीं वहां से हो गया।
Amitabh, 1 minute to go.
Yes, Philip.
आवाज आ रही है, बोलना है यार।
तो फिर दोबारा लॉगिन करिए।
15 seconds.
अभी आप लॉगआउट करिए, फिर अपने लॉगिन से करिए।
ये अपना आ गया पूरा देखो।
आप सुन करिए।
गुड। और डार्क करके क्लोजर सारे आने चाहिए नहीं और क्लोज
ओनली 3%।
नहीं पर ओनली 3 तो नहीं आ पाएगा, वो बहुत जूम इन करना पड़ेगा। हो जाएगा फिर पीएम की फोटो भी आनी
सब आएगा।
पास में भेजिए।
Amitabh, let us roll.
यस ये थोड़ा नीचे करिए थोड़ा नीचे
फोटो पीएम का जो
और फोटो
पीएम का फोटो
कर रहे हैं प्लीज।
लेफ्ट यस
Let us roll, please.
स्टार्ट।
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Ministers, esteemed panelists, industry experts, and valued participants. A very warm welcome to all of you to the Post-Budget Webinar 2025 on MSME as an engine of growth. It is an honor for me to moderate the session on accelerating growth in the Indian toy industry. We sincerely thank Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for his visionary leadership in driving transformative reforms that empower MSMEs and startups. Our gratitude also extends to the Ministry of MSME and DPIIT for their relentless efforts in fostering policies that boost small businesses and India's global competitiveness. This year's Union Budget reaffirms the government's commitment to MSME, startups, and labor-intensive industries. Today's discussions will focus on translating these initiatives into actionable strategies to drive innovation, competitiveness, and growth. Our breakout session on accelerating growth in the toy industry is particularly significant as this sector, besides being close to the heart of our dear Prime Minister, also holds immense potential for boosting domestic manufacturing, exports, and employment. Through collaborative efforts between policymakers and industry leaders, we aim to address challenges, explore new markets, and position India as a key player in the global toy industry. I would like to start by introducing our esteemed panelists. Shri Ajay Agarwal ji from Alina International. He is an exporter of board games and puzzles and has been representing Indian toy industry in the international markets for many years. Shri Yashwinder Kohli ji from Jasco Handicrafts Private Limited, a second-generation stuffed toy manufacturer and exporter. He is also a leading member of the Toy City cluster in Greater Noida. Shri Manu Gupta ji from Playgrow India Private Limited. He is a serial entrepreneur with experience in all aspects of the toy trade, be it imports, retail, or manufacturing. He is also the chairman of the Toy Association of India. Shri Moez Gabajiwala is the CEO of Zephyr Toy Makers. He is a second-generation entrepreneur of the company behind the iconic mechanics construction set that we have all played with in our childhood. Dr. Meeta Sharma is the founder of Shumi Toys. She has transitioned from tech to entrepreneurship to create eco-friendly made in India toys. Last but not least is Shri Adil from Meeran Arts and Craft. He is an expert on Channapatnam wooden toy cluster and helps bring these centuries-old traditional craft to the current generation. We look forward to an engaging and insightful discussion, and I encourage all participants to actively share their thoughts, raise pertinent questions, and contribute to shaping the policy initiatives that propel our industry to global recognition. I would like to start with Shri Manu Gupta ji. Manu ji, in context of the budget announcement on the proposed scheme for the toy industry, can you help explain the key challenges that the industry faces that is holding us back?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अमिताभ जी और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की नोट एड्रेस देने के लिए, इस इंडस्ट्री को अडॉप्ट करने के लिए और इस सेक्टर का ट्रू पोटेंशियल पहचानने के लिए. The Indian toy industry, despite its vast potential and growing demand, faces several challenges that is hindering its growth and global competitiveness. While India, as we all know, has a rich heritage of toy making, which has contributed immensely to the world with innovations like Mokshpattam, which is a modern snake and ladder, Chopper, amongst others, and not to forget that we have 12 GI tag in 9 traditional toy clusters. Despite all this, the modern toy industry is still in its very nascent stage, just starting to bud after the government's many macro policy initiatives. DPIT started with many reforms, starting from QCO, duty realignment, and thereupon a national action plan on toys. The industry in its current state is highly fragmented and predominantly in MSME or cottage sector. These businesses often struggle with financial constraints, compliance burden, limited access to resources, modern technology, and supply chain inefficiencies. One of the biggest challenges for the toy industry is heavy dependence on imports, particularly for critical components such as fabric, dyes, motors, and electronic parts. Through this forum, I would like to tell you that a significant proportion of modern toys incorporate electronic elements. The lack of robust domestic ecosystem for these components forces manufacturers to rely on foreign suppliers. This dependency makes Indian manufacturers prone to fluctuations in global supply chains, trade restrictions, and price volatility. As we all know that the government has mandated quality control order on toys, but it is still not applicable on toy parts, giving some importers who misuse the system and law to import complete toys in guise of parts. An effective mechanism has to be put in place to control these deceptive operations. Another ongoing challenge is that India, as a signatory of APTA, has to provide on basic custom duty, which is now being applied to AITC also. This reduces the effective duty further. Additionally, the industry strongly believes that there is a significant cost disadvantages with neighboring countries who are hugely subsidizing the toys production, and import duties should not be lowered. Also, any for future realignment should be based on a comprehensive industry impact assessment and consultation with all stakeholders. This proposal in budget could undermine government's significant efforts to develop the local toy industry into a competitive global player. As in many industries, innovation also plays a critical role in toys development. And we have seen as how global toy leading brands have been created out of a single innovation. The case in point is Lego blocks for Lego, Barbie for metal. Herein lies our second problem, lack of domestic research and development capabilities in line with global standards. Toys need not only require a unique and engaging design, but also visually appealing packaging. With large international toy brands and their manufacturers investing significantly on innovations, the Indian toy industry, particularly artisans and MSMEs, struggle with limited resources for product development and design innovation. This lack of R&D impacts the ability of Indian toys to compete with international brands in terms of quality, safety, presentation, and technological advancements. Hard challenge for the industry is that in many instances, in fact, I'll say in most instances, a substantial part of investment is absorbed by land and building expenses, leaving manufacturers with minimal funds for critical operation and growth needs. Um, Another problem that industry faces is paucity of skilled manpower. Toy manufacturing requires expertise in design, engineering, material selection, and safety standards. However, the absence of formalized training programs and educational institutes focused on toy making limits the availability of skilled workforce. The courses available, which are currently available at premier institutes like NID, also lack the industry interface. During the last few years, we have noticed institutes like CDAC under the ambit of METI coming out with a course on how to make electronic toys, but that course is yet also to be formalized and certified. We will need more such courses for wooden toys, plush toys, and ride-on toys. A, a particularly successful initiative I would like to share saw toy manufacturers from Toy City in Uttar Pradesh training women from nearby villages, allowing the manufacturers to expand their production capacity while creating an additional source of income for women. Traditional artisans who always play a crucial role in Indian toy heritage often lack the necessary expertise and exposure to modern techniques and material, making it difficult for them to adapt to evolving market demands. In addition, compliance with safety and quality standards pose a significant challenge. Many Indian toy manufacturers often lack the resources and network to effectively market their products on a global scale. Unlike established global brands, which have a strong brand recognition and recall value, and of course, retail presence, many Indian toy makers are still struggling with visibility in both domestic and international market. Despite these challenges, I remain very hopeful that the Indian toy industry has significant growth potential with world's one-third under 14 population living in India and a relatively very low per capita spend. The opportunity to grow is immense. With the government initiatives such as Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign and increased focus on promoting local manufacturing through National Action Plan on Toys, there is an opportunity to overcome these hurdles and establish India as a strong player in the global toy market. Thank you, Amita.
Imported materials and a high capital requirement for land and building. It seems to be a chicken and egg story that also affects the availability of skilled manpower and attracting international buyers to source from India. Coming to Moez, Moez, based upon your vast global experience, can you help suggest some of the aspects that should get covered in the proposed scheme for toys? Moez.
Hello. Thanks, Amitabh. Thanks for having me over here and giving me the opportunity to talk. Manu has brought in some very interesting and pertinent points. Like the first thing he spoke about was reducing the import dependency. Very truly, a lot of critical components are still being imported from international countries. And the main reason is because either there are no Indian manufacturers, or even if they're very small and don't have that technical prowess or the quality, or cannot even match the pricing that is got internationally. If that ecosystem of vendors and raw materials can be created robustly in the country, that would be great help. Now, this can be done basically by probably incentivizing toy component manufacturers who supply to the toy industry, or also in a way, if we can subsidize or find a financial benefit for toy companies to source locally, that might break that cycle and might incentivize people to actually help the component manufacturers develop. So it could break that cycle and it could help, us create our own ecosystem. Additionally, toys are always an evolving product, and so research and development is extremely important. All over the world, people constantly are looking at what is new, what is the new product, what is new in packaging, what is new in technology, how is that technology been adapted into toys, how is the child education or child's experience going to be enhanced with the new product. And because of this, toy industries always have to have a very deep R&D nature. But because R&D is so expensive and it has a lot of ifs and buts and there is no guarantee for success, it becomes very challenging for a small entrepreneur to invest so much in R&D without any confirmed or visible returns. So if having a mechanism where you can actually guarantee or help subsidize the R&D spend of a organization could really motivate the small enterprises to pump money and actually talent into creating new products rather than just replicating other products, successful products. This will actually bring Indian toys to the forefront of the international industry. So that is one way, but the other way is also like we've got some very good, great institutes that train our youngsters in design, in production, in material. And if we can find a way to collaborate the toy industry to these institutes where the toy industry can leverage the expertise that is being taught to these youngsters, that also can help the toy industry in coming out with better, more efficient, and world-class products. Another aspect where the toy industry struggles is in quality standards and certification. Now, across the world, different countries have different standards that we have to follow before we can actually export to those countries. There are two kinds of standards. One is the product standards, the quality of the product standards, and other is the certification that is required in terms of your compliances. Now, both these aspects are very expensive. And getting those certificates, getting those standards, and then looking for a buyer out internationally is a long process. If we can find a way to subsidize those kind of certifications where the industry or the company goes through the certification process, gets the certificate, and gets a reimbursement on that or a financial aid would be a very great component and a great help. This will also help people start thinking in an international mechanism. They will start developing the products with those standards in mind. Toy is also very labor intensive, and so skill development and training is also very important. In a toy industry, there is labor that is used who are heavily skilled, who are semi-skilled, and who are unskilled also. And this labor is required in any form, any size of the toy industry. If we can help a company in upskilling their existing labor from an unskilled to a semi-skilled and to a skilled, that helps the company and of course helps uplift the laborers of the company. At the same time, if there can be a collaboration with a lot of the technical vocational training institutes, and those laborers can be trained in the skills that is required for the toy industry, that kind of collaboration between the industry and the educational sector also will help the industry as well as the students who are going to pass out. Now, all that we are talking about is extremely capital intensive, and toy in the company especially is very capital intensive because we have a lot of exposure in terms of land and building. Now, this itself, like Manu pointed out, contributes about 50% of the investment. But then after that, you have to go get into the R&D. You have to spend in the automation. You have to spend on skilling of the laborers. You have to spend on constantly developing your raw material, developing your vendors, keeping your ecosystem updated, understanding the market, having a market outreach program where you are actually finding ways and means to uh, and then work with international buyers and international chains and companies. All of this has a lot of capital requirement. And since toys is extremely voluminous, low value but high volume product, the space that is required actually multiplies a lot. And for that, if there is a way we can find that finance can be provided to the toy industry on a subsidized or a low interest rate, similar to what we have for other small handicrafts units and all, that actually will boost the toy industry to be able to mitigate the challenges of finance and then focus on development, and more development. Other way that we can look at is basically a cluster. Now, this would be really fantastic if we can develop clusters for micro and small industries where they don't have to individually invest in machines, in processes, in software, in hardware. And in a cluster, if they can have access, like a timeshare basis, they have access to this with the shared resources. This also will really help the micro and small industry grow to a level quickly where they themselves could at one point invest in the kind of requirements for their own thing in capital. So I think these are the few points if we can figure out a way to incorporate that would really help the toy industry go from where we are to actually the driver of growth in the international market.
Thank you very much, Mohit, for your insights. An important aspect that you have covered is the toy clusters. Yashwinder ji has experience of working in a toy cluster. Yashwinder ji, can you please share your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Amitabh, for putting me this question. Already Manu and Moise have spoken on clusters, so we know that for Indian toys, cluster formation is very important. To establish India a global toy manufacturing hub, a cluster-based development approach is essential. This will integrate the entire toy value chain, enhance production efficiency, and foster a collaborative ecosystem for manufacturers, MSMEs, and artisans. In India, we have 24 traditional toy clusters like Channapatna, Varanasi, Kondapalli, Erode for wooden and handcrafted toys, which are in need of infrastructure and market access support. Simultaneously, we have got 10 modern toy hubs such as Kopal, Toy City in Greater Noida, Indore, and Jamnagar, which are growing as an industrial scale production center for toys. Learning from similar models like Moradabad's metal handicraft cluster and Surat's textile hub, we can integrate the state-of-art manufacturing facilities, common testing centers, and logistics network to ensure holistic growth. A well-integrated value chain is very crucial for toy clusters. As you know, toy manufacturing involves n numbers of materials and processes. A robust toy hub should cover everything from raw material sourcing, design to production, testing, and marketing. One major challenge is to reduce import dependency. We can do this by promoting domestic sourcing of wood, fabrics, and dyes, which are not easily available for our toy manufacturers. As toys being voluminous in nature, we need to set up dedicated warehousing and logistics hubs to improve our efficiency and reduce cost. See, the next phase of growth will be driven by investments in common facility centers and establishing innovation centers, which will play a very important role in future of toys because toys future lies on STEM-based learning toys, AI-driven interactive toys, and eco-friendly alternatives. See, another aspect which is very important is collaboration of toy industry with engineering colleges and design institutes. We should encourage to learn new techniques of production and incorporate modern trends in the industry with this collaboration. As you know, toy is a labor-intensive sector. We need a skilled workforce, which is essential to produce high quality and innovative toys. So we need to have excellent training programs in this traditional craft techniques and innovative toys and advanced toy manufacturing technologies. Setting up SEZs and dedicated toy parks will encourage manufacturers to boost large-scale production, which will be on the similar success to Tamil Nadu Automotive's SEZs and Noida's Electronic Hub. As our Honorable Prime Minister spoke in his speech, to support MSME artisans and self-help groups, it is crucial to integrate traditional artisans into the organized sector, which will encourage collaboration between craftsmen and modern manufacturers. A strong focus on women-led rural artisans, similar to the initiative like Kutch Embroidery Cluster, will not only preserve India's rich cultural heritage of making toys and will also make it globally competitive. As being a plush toy manufacturer, I would like to share a major success story from our neighboring country, which has the world's largest plush toy manufacturing cluster, which I am very fortunate to visit since 2006 when it was incepted. This cluster had traditional roots of toy making since 1950s. You will be surprised to know with a short span of 5 years, this cluster was feeding about 2,000 factories and exporting 75% of the plush toy exports of that country. This was ably supported by government, having 1,000 shops in a toy complex that provide manufacturers with easy access to raw material, and that too of international quality. Design support, a toy manufacturer doesn't have to move to hire his own designers. There are design shops to train them to design, and then you have testing facilities over there, which is very easy accessible to any toy manufacturer. Then the most important part is in any factory is compliance, and the compliance assistance is also provided in the toy cluster itself. See, again, a plush toy manufacturing requires a very good ancillary support. See, this cluster also had embroidery and printing, which is very essential for modern plush toy manufacturing. I would suggest policymakers that India can replicate this successful model in Great Noida, which already has 40 plus toy manufacturers. I am also a part of it, catering to both domestic market and export markets. This model can be expanded to other categories of toys in different regions in India, ensuring a strong domestic manufacturing ecosystems and reducing dependence on imports. By adopting a cluster-based strategy and leveraging global best practices, India can position itself as a leading toy manufacturer hub, benefiting MSMEs, artisans, and large-scale manufacturers equally. We'll truly be a global champion if we are able to form good clusters for our toy industry. Thank you, Amitabh.
Thank you, Yashwinder, for your inputs. Our cluster will surely help in increasing our export potential. And to Ajay ji, who's a leading exporter, can give some more suggestions on how the new policy can support the toys export.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, sir, for your encouragement and support of the toy industry. Thanks to MSME and DPIIT for giving the industry this platform to share our views. Thank you, Amitabh. You have put a question to me. I will try to give your answers. पिछले 8-10 वर्षों में एक्सपोर्ट निर्यात खिलौने का हमारा 200 से ज्यादा परसेंटेज में बढ़ा है। जब हम बात करते हैं 2014-2015 की, तो हमारा लगभग $96 मिलियन का टॉयज एक्सपोर्ट था। अभी हम बात करते हैं 2023-2024 की, तो हमारा एक्सपोर्ट $314 मिलियन का पहुंच चुका है। इसका मतलब हमने पिछले 8-10 वर्षों में 200 से ज्यादा परसेंटेज का इसमें एक्सपोर्ट में उछाल किया है। दुनिया की हम खिलौने की मार्केट की बात करें तो पूरी दुनिया में $140 बिलियन का मार्केट टॉयज का है, जिसके अंदर हमारा शेयर अभी इंडिया का एक्सपोर्ट में लेस देन 1% है। सबसे बड़ी मार्केट दुनिया के अंदर खिलौना जहां कंज्यूम होता है वो नॉर्थ अमेरिका है, फॉलोड बाय यूरोप एंड मिडिल ईस्ट। आज मार्केट बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, मार्केट ऑलरेडी बनी हुई है। हिंदुस्तान को अपने खिलौनों को वहां तक पहुंचाना, अपना शेयर बढ़ाना, ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। सरकार ने कुछ कंट्रीज के साथ में एफटीए किया है, जैसे कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया, यूएई। हम उनके इस पहल का स्वागत करते हैं और आज सरकार एमएसएमई मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को उठाने की पहल की तरफ है, तो ये बहुत बड़ा कदम है, क्योंकि हमारी खिलौना इंडस्ट्री 85% से ज्यादा एमएसएमई सेक्टर में आती है। एमएसएमई सेक्टर के पास सारे संसाधन नहीं होते जो बड़े मैन्युफैक्चरर्स के पास होते हैं। वो सरकार की मदद से, किसी एसोसिएशन की मदद से, किसी बड़े भाई के रूप में अपनी मदद से आगे बढ़ सकता है। तो सरकार की ये पहल एमएसएमई को बढ़ाने के लिए बड़ा सराहनीय कदम है। हम सारे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स इसकी बहुत ज्यादा आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। मैंने अपने सारे एक्सपोर्ट के इश्यूज को कुछ हिस्सों में बांटा है, तो मैं 1 बाय 1 उसके ऊपर अपना कोशिश करूंगा कि अपनी प्रॉब्लम से सरकार तक उसको अवगत कराया जाए। नंबर 1, ग्लोबल मार्केट एक्सेस। पूरी दुनिया में जो दिखता है वही बिकता है। हम अपना प्रोडक्ट कितना भी अच्छा बनाएं, यदि उसको इंटरनेशनल लेवल तक नहीं पहुंचा पा रहे हैं तो हमारा बेचना असंभव है। दुनिया के अंदर खिलौने की 5 बहुत बड़ी एग्जीबिशंस लगती हैं, जैसे न्यूरमबर्ग टॉय फेयर जर्मनी, हांगकांग टॉय फेयर, न्यूयॉर्क टॉय फेयर, जापान टॉय फेयर एंड दुबई टॉय शो। These all 5 exhibitions are very big exhibitions to showcase their products worldwide. सरकार की तरफ से, एमएसएमई की तरफ से हमारे पास कुछ रिएम्बर्समेंट अवेलेबल होती है, लेकिन सारी एग्जीबिशंस को कवर करना एक साल में जाना असंभव है। तो हमारी एमएसएमई से ये रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि टॉय इंडस्ट्री के अपने प्रोडक्ट को दिखाने के लिए एमएसएमई की तरफ से स्कीम बढ़ाई जाए, जिससे सारे लोग अपने मैन्युफैक्चरर्स वहां पे टॉय को डिस्प्ले कर सकें, दिखा सकें। जब दिखाएंगे तो बायर को लगेगा कि हाँ, हिंदुस्तान में बहुत अच्छा खिलौना बनता है, जो उनको उम्मीद नहीं थी उससे अच्छा हम माल बना के दे सकते हैं। हमारे सारे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स जो एग्जिस्टिंग मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं, क्वालिटी बनाने में, क्वालिटी देने में, प्राइस देने में बहुत कॉम्पिटिटिव है। तो मार्केट बनी हुई है, मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को आगे ले जाने की जरूरत है, जो सरकार के सहयोग से ही संभव हो सकती है। दूसरा मेरा पॉइंट है इसमें इनोवेशन एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी। कोई भी प्रोडक्ट विदेश में हम तभी बेच सकते हैं जब उसकी पैकेजिंग बहुत अच्छी है, नया डिजाइन है उसके अंदर, प्राइस कॉम्पिटिटिव है, और इसमें डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ कैटेगरीज है। टॉयज के अंदर बहुत सारी कैटेगरीज है, प्लास्टिक टॉयज, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टॉयज, बोर्ड गेम्स, पजल्स, वुडन टॉयज, सॉफ्ट टॉयज। तो हर आइटम की एक अलग मार्केट है। ये नहीं है कि हम सारे प्रोडक्ट को एक ही जगह बेच लेंगे। तो हमें एमएसएमई की मदद से वो एरिया आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं कि किस एरिया में हम अपना कौन सा प्रोडक्ट बेच सकते हैं, और प्रोडक्ट बेचने के लिए कस्टमर की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, वो कैसे पूरी की जा सकती है। तो ये बहुत बड़ा इसके अंदर काम किया जा सकता है। अगला मेरा पॉइंट है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। एक्सपोर्ट एक इतनी बड़ी मार्केट है, जैसे मैंने बताया कि हमारा शेयर 1% से कम है। तो इसको शेयर को जब हम बढ़ाएंगे तो हमें मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जब हमारे पास होगी तभी हम, क्योंकि पहले हमारे मैन्युफैक्चरर को डोमेस्टिक मार्केट को पूरा करना है, उसके बाद उसे सरप्लस में एक्सपोर्ट जाना है। तो डोमेस्टिक मार्केट कैसे इंप्रूव हो, मेरे पिछले पैनलिस्ट ने उसको डिस्कस किया है, तो उसके बारे में ज्यादा मैं नहीं टाइम लूंगा। बाकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होगी ज्यादा लार्ज स्केल पे तो भी हम एक्सपोर्ट को आगे बढ़ा पाएंगे। चौथा मेरा सप्लाई चेन एफिशिएंसी से है। इंडिया एक ऐसे ज्योग्राफिकल इसका एडवांटेज है हमारे को कि हम मिडिल ईस्ट और अफ्रीकन बेल्ट को बहुत जल्दी कवर कर सकते हैं। मुंबई से हमारा दुबई बेल्ट पे माल 5 दिन में पहुंच जाता है, जबकि अदर कंट्रीज के लिए 15 से 20 दिन का समय है। तो इस चीज का एडवांटेज हम ले सकते हैं, और हमारे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को तैयार करके इस बेल्ट पे बहुत अच्छा काम किया जा सकता है। और जो बड़े मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं, जो बड़े बायर हैं, उनको बड़ा मैन्युफैक्चर चाहिए, तो कुछ ऐसी कोशिश की जाए कि सी पोर्ट के साथ में बड़ी बड़ी फैक्ट्रीज को लगा के एक टाइम जो हमारा कंज्यूम होता है यहाँ ड्राई पोर्ट से सी पोर्ट भेजने में, वो भी कम हो सके। और फ्रेट हमारा लगता है, क्योंकि टॉयज एक वॉल्यूमिनस प्रोडक्ट है, वैल्यू उसकी कम है, वॉल्यूम ज्यादा है। तो हमारे को ऊपर 8 से 10% का फ्रेट कॉस्ट आती है दिल्ली से मुंबई भेजने के अंदर, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द वैल्यू ऑफ द कंटेनर। तो उसके ऊपर हमें बड़े मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को कुछ ऐसी सुविधा देनी चाहिए जो सी पोर्ट के आसपास को क्लस्टर बना के, टॉय क्लस्टर, टॉय एसी जड़ बना के, जिससे कि वो अपने टाइम को और पैसे को बचा सकें और इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस की तरह से अपने प्रोडक्ट को प्रेजेंट कर सकें। कंप्लायंस एंड क्वालिटी, everybody says about the compliance and quality. Compliance is a very big issue for the toys, because every and each country has his own compliance and safety standards for importing the toys from any country. If we're talking about the USA, so they need the ASTM. If we talk about the Europe, they need the EN71. If we talk about the Saudi Arabia, they need the G mark. For Indonesia, they need the SNI. For Uganda, Rwanda, every country has his own standards for importing the toys in his own country. So ये बहुत बड़ा प्रोसेस है, बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है। हमारे माइक्रो और स्मॉल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को आगे ले जाने के लिए हमें इसके अंदर को सब्सिडी का प्रावधान रखना चाहिए, चाहे वो पर पीस के रूप में हो, चाहे पर 1000 के ऊपर हो, चाहे 1 लाख की एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर हो, चाहे 1 करोड़ की एक्सपोर्ट के ऊपर हो। ऐसा प्रावधान रखना चाहिए जिससे हम ये ना डरें कि हमारे को एक्सपोर्ट करने के लिए टेस्टिंग कराने में लाखों रुपए खर्च करना पड़ेगा। तो सरकार या एमएसएमई से ये विनती है कि इस सेफ्टी के खर्चे को कुछ आगे डाइल्यूट करके मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को सपोर्ट की जाए, तो वो अपने प्रोडक्ट को इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स पे ले जा सकता है। डिजिटल एंड ई कॉमर्स, आज सभी को मालूम है कि सारी दुनिया डिजिटल ई कॉमर्स की तरफ जा रही है। आज देश के अंदर बहुत बड़े बड़े ऐसे पोर्टल्स हैं, अलीबाबा है, वॉलमार्ट है, जो कि आपका माल यहीं से इंडिया से ही उठा के देश में ले जा सकते हैं। हिंदुस्तान के वर्ल्ड के अंदर 200 कंट्रीज आज हैं, तो सभी कंट्रीज में टॉयज बिकता है। और ये सारे जितने भी ई कॉमर्स पोर्टल्स हैं, ये सारे एक्सपोर्ट को बढ़ावा देते हैं। तो इसके अंदर हमारे को एक दिशा और दिशा दोनों चाहिए मैन्युफैक्चरर्स के लिए कि कमेटी बना के उसको कैसे आगे बढ़ाया जाए, तो इसके अंदर बहुत बड़ा काम किया जा सकता है। अगला फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट, सरकार की बहुत सारी स्कीम्स पहले से ही अवेलेबल है, सीजीटी एमएसएमई है, मुद्रा है, और बहुत सारी स्कीम्स अवेलेबल है। सिर्फ फर्क है कि मैन्युफैक्चरर उसका फायदा नहीं उठा पा रहा। तो उस दिशा में कदम होना चाहिए कि एक ग्रुप बना के जो स्मॉल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स है, माइक्रो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स है, उसको कैसे आगे बढ़ा के उसके पेपर वर्क को, उसके कंप्लायंस को कंप्लीट करा के उसको एक बेनिफिट दिया जाए। लास्ट में मेरा है ब्रांडिंग एंड मार्केटिंग। हिंदुस्तान को एक इंडियन टॉयज एंड गेम्स के नाम से कैंपेन चलाना चाहिए, एक रोड शो करने चाहिए जगह जगह जाके, एरिया वाइज पूरे वर्ल्ड को 5 हिस्सों में बांट के कि हम इस एरिया को पहले मजबूत करेंगे, फिर इसको करेंगे, फिर इसको करेंगे। मेड इन इंडिया, मेड इन भारत टॉयज एंड गेम्स के नाम से एक कैंपेन बना के इसको लॉन्च किया जाए, तो बहुत जल्दी हम अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को ग्लोबल लोगों तक पहुंचा सकते हैं और बहुत जल्दी दिखा सकते हैं। लास्ट में मेरा एक ये प्रपोजल है कि जैसे छोटा सप्लायर होता है किसी कंट्री में, तो उसकी छोटी छोटी क्वांटिटीज होती हैं, वो उसका पूरा नहीं कर पाता है, तो इसके लिए मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर का कॉन्सेप्ट को आगे बढ़ाया जाए, जिससे कि मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर काफी फैक्ट्री से माल खरीद के छोटी छोटी सप्लाई को पूरा कर सके। अंतिम में मेरा ये कहना है कि जो स्पेयर पार्ट्स के नाम पे हम इंडिया में खिलौना इंडिया में कंप्लीट आ नहीं सकता बीआईएस स्टैंडर्ड की वजह से, पार्ट्स अलाउड हैं बीआईएस के नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से। तो थोड़ा उसमें क्लैरिटी की जाए कि पार्ट्स कैसे आ सकते हैं, कैसे नहीं आ सकते। कुछ मिस कम्युनिकेशन की होने की वजह से टॉय इंडस्ट्री को उसके अंदर दिक्कत हो रही है। मैन्युफैक्चरर्स जिन्होंने काफी इन्वेस्टमेंट इस इंडस्ट्री में किया हुआ है, उनको परेशानी हो रही है। तो एमएसएमई से रिक्वेस्ट है कि इस चीज पे देखा जाए कि फेयर इंपोर्ट होना चाहिए पार्ट्स का, जो एक्चुअल मैन्युफैक्चरर है उसको पार्ट्स के रूप में माल आए और फेयर डीलिंग हो, तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं थैंक यू करता हूं अमिताभ जी का, थैंक यू सभी लोगों का फॉर लिसनिंग मी, थैंक यू एवरीवन, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Ajay ji. Moiz, as you are also an exporter, can you please add your experience to Ajay ji's suggestions, especially on the skills required for designing, engineering, and manufacturing that can help us increase exports?
So, Amitabh. So basically, when we export, we have to be very competent with the world, rest of the world. We are competing for the same market with the rest of the world. So one market, 10,000 suppliers, that's the logic. Now, who wins is basically somebody who has got a good product and has a very good packaging appeal. Now, when we are doing that, we also have to look at the pricing. A good product, a great packaging doesn't normally mean that you will get the client, because your price cannot be higher than the competing. After all, it is a discretionary purchase. So when we are looking at that, we also have to see the efficiency of manufacturing. So a process design or manufacturing design is equally important. And I think if we are able to manage these three aspects of the product being up to date, the packaging being very interesting, and the product efficiency in production, then I don't think there's any reason why we cannot win this battle.
Thank you, Moiz, for your inputs. I would now like to call Dr. Meeta. As you have a lot of international experience or research, I will ask you two interrelated questions. First is, what steps can be taken to support research and development in the toy sector? And secondly, what are the key interventions required for the development of safe and high quality toys?
So thank you, Amitabh, for asking this question. And I think like we have been hearing almost all the panelists talk about the importance of research and development, because if India has to grow as a powerhouse, a toy manufacturing powerhouse, then research and development, investment in research and development is really critical for us to drive innovation, technological development, and competitiveness. So I think this scheme should include some of these following steps to support R&D in the Indian toy industry. Firstly, we have all been talking about the clusters that are being developed. So I think as we are developing these clusters, we should also develop R&D centers in these clusters to enable them to, with the latest technology, 3D printing, robotics, digital prototyping, so to drive more innovation in toys. The second point, I think, is a strong partnership with design and engineering institutes, because there's technically design and engineering institutes are always inclined towards innovation. So we as an industry, if we can collaborate more with the design and engineering institutes like NID, NIFT, IITs, ISCs, so we can learn a lot and we can bring out more innovation in this sector. Be it in material, be it in the designs, be it in safety testing, there's a lot that can be done together. Then thirdly, as we all in this industry know the power of play for kids in the early years. And also our respected Prime Minister Modi ji has also stressed on this importance in the new national education policy, where more play-based, activity-based learning has to be encouraged. So there, as an industry, we should also have more grants, more systematic approach towards developing smart STEM and educational toys, and also invest in digital and AI-based toys, because in this day and age where digital is becoming more and more prominent, we should also have more research to do augmented reality and virtual reality toys for an immersive learning experience. And again, on the fourth point I would like to add is on the promotion of use of sustainable materials. This is something which is very close to our hearts. And we also know this is the need of the hour, where we as an industry should start moving towards innovation in sustainable materials, promotion of sustainable and eco-friendly toys. But I think, as all of us also know, that these materials are expensive, it adds to the cost. But if we are able to do R&D to understand how we can use different materials in a better way, in a more cost-effective way, then this can lead to the use of such materials much more and lead to a greener, make us a much more greener industry. Then finally, the next point that I would like to highlight is to leverage school children's creativity in toy development. And I have personally been involved in a lot of workshops in Bangalore, where we have interfaced with different schools to teach kids about toy design, the different features of it. And I have always come out very amazed to see the kind of questions, the creativity, the imagination that you can get when you're engaging with kids, because they ask the most pertinent questions. And even someone as young as kids in grade 2. So when there's so much immense potential, we should tap into this potential in a much more systematic way, where the scheme can encourage toy innovation labs, include toy design in the curriculum, because again, kids are very creative and imaginative, and we should learn from them. So another structured approach where we can collaborate with the schools is required and will be highly welcomed by us as in the industry. Then the next sixth point that I would like to mention is more government incentives for toy R&D, and especially pertaining to patenting and IP protection. Because as we do more and more R&D and we come up with more innovation, but we need a mechanism to protect the designs that we come up with. Because as all of us face this challenge, this is a big challenge in this industry, that there is a lot of how do we protect the IP that we are creating? And it is not easy. The process is not simple. It is not cost effective. So in that process, it is not easy for all of us to go, and especially MSMEs and startups, to go and protect our designs. So if there is certain subsidies or there are certain procedures which this can be made easier for us, this will encourage more and more innovation in this sector. And another thing that can be done is that we can foster more and more public-private partnerships for advanced toy research. Maybe large toy companies can invest in R&Ds. They can be tax rebates for companies investing in new materials, digital toy innovations, in manufacturing automation, and this will go a long way for all of us. And while we look at innovation in toy design, I think an amount of investment also needs to be done in transforming and automating the toy manufacturing facilities, because if we have to compete on a global stage, we need to be more cost effective, we need to be scalable, we need to do it much faster and in a much more efficient manner. And so a lot of innovation is required where we can provide funding for robotic automation, IoT enables production lines, make the manufacturing process scalable and cost effective. And this will definitely take India on the global stage in toy manufacturing. And in this, just a thought that if we can bring up something like a national toy innovation hub, where there can be a center which can help in faster churning of designs, because we all know when we go and design new toys and there's a whole prototyping cycle, there's an exploration cycle, and it is a little bit of a time-consuming cycle also when we are looking at a lot of innovation in this sector. So if there's a lab which is dedicated, which has the right facilities, prototyping, 3D printing facilities, design softwares, this can help us to churn faster and come up and evaluate our innovation much faster. So while this was the first part of your question on the R&D, I would like to take up the second part of the question, which was on sustainable toy design. So this is also very close to my heart, because my journey in this industry started with me as a mom searching for safe and sustainable toys. So I know the importance of giving quality toys. But when I started in this journey, I also realized that it is not easy to figure out what are the compliances, what are the things to be done. So this is a very important part that should be taken up. And I think this is very closely related to the R&D part. We can, at the same time, when we are developing the sectors, we can put more, the centers can also have toy testing facilities, which can enable the industry to be more compliant and go through the standards. And like Ajay ji also mentioned, the different standards across the different markets, like ASTM, EN 71, each of them is very, very expensive. So if there are schemes which can provide us the subsidies, it can lead to us being more compliant in the safety standards. So I think together, if we are able to bring all of this together, with these strategic interventions, India can create a world-class quality ecosystem for toys, strengthening the testing infrastructure, the R&D. I'm sure that we can accelerate the toy growth in the toy industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Meeta ji, for your thoughts. As our Prime Minister has also mentioned about our traditional toy clusters, and Manu ji and all the other members have also mentioned, I would like to ask Mr. Adil, and what are his expectations from the proposed scheme on the toy industry?
First, thank Minister of MSME, DPIIT, and TIE for providing me this opportunity into this webinar. To support the development of Thai MSME and traditional toy artisans, the scheme should focus on the following key measures: financial support and incentive, providing subsidized loan and credit through government schemes like Mudra, PM-EGP, Spurti, and Credit Guarantee Fund, offering direct financial grants to the artisans for their infrastructure development, procurement of raw materials and machineries for improving working conditions, implementing tax benefit by reducing the current GST rates on the traditional and handmade toys. We can pass on those benefits directly to the consumers. Establishing common facility centers, setting up or developing state-of-art common facility center in toy clusters with shared resources like CNC machinery, laser cutting, wood seasoning plant, and wood treatment plants. Providing access to modern design labs and quality testing centers, offering low-cost rentals for artisans and MSMEs to use these advanced manufacturing tools. Skill development and training, conducting hands-on workshop to train artisans in modern techniques while preserving traditional craftsmanship. Collaborating with design institutes and IITs to introduce innovative toy designs. Strengthening supply chain and raw material access, ensuring affordable and high quality raw materials by setting up cooperative procurement centers, implementing subsidized procurement program for artisans, market access and digital integration, providing branding, packaging assistance to enhance the appeal of handmade toys. Toy cluster with modern infrastructure, developing dedicated toy clusters in states with high toy production equipped with smart logistics and warehousing, offering plug-and-play factory spaces for MSMEs and artisans to start production without high capital investment, strengthening quality and certification for exports, establishing affordable toy testing labs to comply with global standards like ASTM and EN71, providing subsidies for international certification to help artisans to enter export markets. Here I want to thank our Honorable Prime Minister for promoting Indian toys and mentioning traditional toys in one of his episode of Man Ki Baat, after which the demand for the traditional toys increased. By implementing these measures, Indian toy MSMEs and artisans can become competitive globally while preserving rich heritage, and artisans can scale their business globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Adil ji, for your inputs, and I'm sure these are all easily implementable suggestions. Coming back to Manu ji, for our support system, what steps should be taken in the proposed scheme for toys to support the development of a manufacturing toy manufacturing ecosystem?
Thank you, Amitabh ji. Everybody have raised very pertinent points. I'll try to incorporate them all into my answer. First, I would like to raise two issues which are very important for the toy industry. जैसे कि हम सब जानते हैं कि टॉयज में दो जीएसटी रेट हैं, एक 12% और एक 18%. तो 12% नॉन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टॉयज के लिए, 18% इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टॉयज के लिए है. तो आज इस मंच के माध्यम से मैं बचाऊंगा कि अगर वो एड्रेस हो सके स्कीम के एम्बिट में या स्कीम के एम्बिट के बाहर तो ये बहुत अच्छा रहेगा. दूसरा इसी से रिलेटेड मैटर है, गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज हैव वर्कड वेरी हार्ड टू गेट मोर देन 1000 पीपल हैव बीआईएस लाइसेंसेज एंड दे आर एवर ग्रोइंग. लेकिन एक डुअल लाइसेंसिंग स्ट्रक्चर है जहाँ पे नॉन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टॉय को अलग लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टॉय को अलग लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता है. दोबारा से यही प्रार्थना रहेगी कि इन दोनों को मर्ज करके अगर हम एक प्रोडक्ट मैनुअल एक लाइसेंस कर सकें तो इससे कंप्लायंस बर्डन कम होगा. अब टू सम अप व्हाट एवरी पैनलिस्ट हैज सेड, how the scheme should take it up, can take it up is what I am going to propose. To support the development of the robust toy manufacturing ecosystem, a comprehensive scheme should be implemented with following key elements, and these are the suggestion of the group. First, as mentioned by Moise, the toys factory require a significant investment. To support that, the scheme should provide capex incentives not only for toy manufacturers but also for producers of toy components and raw materials. This will encourage both greenfield and brownfield investment, reducing our import dependency for critical parts and strengthening the domestic. Given the cost disadvantages domestic toy manufacturers, fiscal incentive to be introduced which will help bridge the gap between the domestic and the imported toy, ensuring global competitiveness while reducing reliance on foreign supply chains. The third point which was highlighted by Yashwinder ji is about the employment generation incentives. The industry, of course, as we know, has huge employment generation potential. In fact, for every per crore of capital employed, it is amongst the highest employment generation industry. The scheme should incentivize job creation, particularly in rural and semi-urban areas where women and skilled artisans can be trained and employed in toy manufacturing. This can be done through wage support programs, training subsidies, and skill development initiatives, both reskilling and upskilling. Another point which was highlighted by Dr. Meeta Sharma was about R&D and design support. So I'm trying to club both these points together. The proposal is to set up a dedicated fund that should be established to drive innovation, promote indigenous toy design, and advanced technology development. How we can do it is by creating toy design laboratories, incubation facilities, university partnership, and this will help us create globally competitive and culture-based toys. The next point, which was again highlighted by Moise, is about the quality and the safety regulatory mechanism. See, safety is something which is required not only by international buyers but also by the domestic companies. So, thus, to ensure that only safe and high quality toys are available in the market, the scheme should support and subsidize all product and process compliance required for international markets. Um, some of the product safety standard that Ajay ji mentioned was EASTM EN 71G mark. Uh, we also propose that scheme should also provide incentive to companies who are acquiring specific process and operation compliance required for toys like SEDEX, TV care certificate. We through this forum, we also request the industry to kindly monitor and regulate the import of toy parts. If possible, if we can enumerate the critical toy parts that need to be imported, then that can also help. All of this is going to strengthen India's reputation as a global toy manufacturing hub. The sixth proposal, which was highlighted by our Honorable President Ajay ji, is about the export promotion and market access. Uh, the scheme should support toy export by providing incentive for export-oriented units, facilitating participation in trade fairs, organizing roadshows, and implementing global market linkage programs. Establishing dedicated toy export zone and addressing logistical challenges will further enhance the industry's global reach. Additionally, many man-made toy clusters in India, as mentioned by JG, are located in dry ports. And given the voluminous nature of toys, there is a significant value to volume mismatch. We request that the scheme to consider a freight subsidy to address this issue. Um, uh, Another suggestion that we have, which was pointed out by Dr. Meeta, is to align with global environment standard. We should give incentives for sustainability and eco-friendly toy manufacturing. The incentive should be provided with a scheme for sustainable and approved manufacturing practices, including the use of eco-friendly raw material, recyclable packaging, and energy-efficient production processes. As raised by Honorable PM also, that states should take it up actively. Many states have already taken up actively. So the states who are promoting toy manufacturing, or the companies who are promoting toy manufacturing by setting up toy clusters and coming up with toy scheme, um, can also be incentivized. Then that will also help. So by implementing all these measures, the scheme will not only strengthen the domestic toy industry, but will also position India as self-reliant and globally competitive toy manufacturing hub. In the words of our honorable and respectable PM, team up for toys and let the games begin. Thank you, Mita.
Thank you, Manuji, for your inputs. It's all been very informative. Meanwhile, I've got some questions from the audience that I would like to put to the panel. I have Mr. Tarun Chetwani from Toy City, Greater Noida. Tarunji, can you please ask your question?
Hello.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Tarunji.
Yes, Tarunji.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I would like to thank our Manniya Pradhan Mantri ji as well for hosting us and creating such an environment for mobilization of toys. My question over here is, since I am into the manufacturing of plush toys, like many of our members, since our industry is highly labor intensive and it needs trained employees, which are rare to find, what we have to do is we have to train them, and then retaining them becomes a huge problem. Means particularly when we are sitting amongst big garment and textile manufacturers over here. So can government help us to hire fresh employees and help us in retaining them?
Interesting question, Tarunji. I would like to mention a few points here that have been discussed. So in our suggestions, we are asking for skill subsidy to be given for in-house skill training, whether it is for fresh employees or whether it is for upskilling. This is going to help improve the quality of labor and also consequently increase their wages and help subsidize the factory, because any new worker who comes in, you need 2 months to at least get them into a flow where they understand the complete process and the nuances of the product. And those 2 months are actually when you kind of feel that why am I'm worried whether this person is going to stay with me after 2 months or not. So yes, for you to take that risk, we will ask for a subsidy for skill training, and also to help retain these employees, a kind of wage subsidy to be given for incremental employment. So this will also help you so that there's more money in the pocket of the worker and you can support them and retain them. And also for a more, when it comes down to clusters, availability of ITI type training centers where you can get more trained manpower which has already gone through the training process, so that you don't have to invest in their training. So all these aspects form a part of our notes that we've taken for our suggestion to the government.
You might remember, Amit ji, we had done a program with Modelama. Probably we burnt out somewhere around 10 lakh rupees in less than 6 months span, and nothing came out of that.
Tarunji, we'll take that matter up separately. Right now we have a paucity of time, so we'll just move on to the next question. Thank you, Tarunji. So next question we have is from Mr. Philip from Fund School, Chennai. Mr. Philip.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you at the outset for having me on this webinar. As you know, Fund School has been one of the pioneer toy companies. And in every year, toys is all about novelty. So we do a lot of design and development, on an average about 75 new products. In the recent years, apart from domestic manufacturing and distribution, we're also doing a lot of ODM and OEM contract manufacturing for international customers. My crux of the question today is the time taken to develop a new product, be it plastic, be it board games, be it an electronic toy. It just takes too long sometimes. It can take as fast as 6 months, and it can go even beyond a year. In this challenging environment, which is where a lot of customers are demanding, we'd like to know how the government can help us improve design. Manpower is a severe issue. We don't have enough engineers who can craft and design toys. How to improve our manufacturing capabilities and capacities as well, because sometimes we can just do small quantities and international markets ask for large quantities. And lastly, how do we adapt to this ever-changing environment, because it's very, very critical we understand this.
Thank you, Philip. So what I understand is you want help in improving the engineering capabilities, capacities, and skills.
Yes.
So we every year, almost every week, we hear of new GCCs being set up in India, especially in Bangalore, Hyderabad area. These engineers, they are catering to the demands of their foreign counterparts. So I'm sure we can look at some method to incentivize students to join the toy industry. I mean, where we have some excellent examples like of IITians who started toy companies and turned them into highly successful, like Play Shifu and others. So I'm sure we can work with the government to get more human capital into the toy industry. And then as far as your engineering capabilities for designing and tooling is concerned, we are talking about clusters, we are talking about common facility centers. I'm sure most of these will also have tool rooms, which will have machines that can help you increase your capacity, and you can use it on a timeshare basis, or the way we can work out the modalities of that. And also, if large companies, like if you want to have your own in-house tool rooms, there would surely be, we'll be talking about capital subsidies from the government for investment in tool rooms and R&D. So I hope this helps answer your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip. Now, next question we have Miss Muskan, who's a young and dynamic entrepreneur from company Spreading Smiles. Miss Muskan, can you please ask your question?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
A very good afternoon to the esteemed panel. Before I begin, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister, Sir, for fostering this vision and making us all believe that yes, we can do it. A big thank you, sir. Now, coming to my question. So often when we interact with our customers, one thing that really comes up is pertaining to new designs and new launches. And I do feel that we lag far behind in this arena, particularly. We are not, while we do have, an in-house design team and an in-house team handling everything, but still, we are not able to keep up with the ever-changing speed at which the designing requirements and the new launches and everything happens. So my question is that how can the government help us, in facing this challenge? Maybe help us access a design bank and help us access new designing talents. Thank you so much.
Manuji and Meetaji, can you please take up this answer? You've done your research on designing and R&D.
Yeah, so thank you, Muskan, for asking this question. And I totally agree with you that coming up with new designs and doing it in a faster way is always a challenge that we all face. But I think this again comes back to the discussion that I had on R&D. If we are able to foster more industry and academic collaborations where we can learn from them also and involve them much more, it can also help us as an industry where we can come up with faster designs and leverage the research already being done in academia. Secondly, I think to do this, if the suggestion that I did propose and if it can be looked into is the National Toy Innovation Hub, if there's a national where there's a toy innovation center which provides facilities that can also accelerate design for all the different companies that are looking to keep investing in design and make it much easier for us. And finally, I think one challenge if we can solve for is low cost in IP. So if we can do that, that will also encourage all of us to come and make innovation a part of our DNA. So I think that is some things that I would like to again stress on. But Manuji, if you would like to add.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Muskan, for asking this question. So design, as Dr. Meeta is also mentioning, is very pertinent to toys. And it is not only about the product design, it is about the packaging design. A toy is incomplete without the packaging. So many institutes like NID, ICAD, World University of Design have toy design courses, and Toy Association of India and other associations also all across have been interacting and trying to give them an industry interface. Now, how this scheme can help develop India as a toy innovation hub, as Dr. Meeta pointed out, is by creating toy design laboratories, incubation facilities, and of course, getting these universities to partnership, formalize, and certify the course so people take this up as a career alternative. I hope our answer to your question helps.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All of these are part of our notes and suggestions.
Yes, thank you.
Next, thank you, Muskan. Next question we have is from Mr. Anuj Mehta from Mumbai. Anuj.
Hi, guys. Firstly, thank you. Thanks a lot for hosting such a great event. It has been really insightful since morning, especially listening to our Honorable Prime Minister. My question is that, when we are exporting, we always keep hearing about neighboring countries, especially doling out huge subsidies for the manufacturing sector for, promoting exports. My question is, how will the government counter this and offer a similar platform to the Indian manufacturers so that they can scale up to a global level?
Thank you, Anuj. That's a very pertinent question because exports will really help us grow our industry fast. Now, these subsidies that are given by the neighboring nations, we can't counter them directly, but the government is working on FTAs with a lot of nations, which should help offset some of the advantages that the other nations get in terms of higher duties for them and lower duties for us. So this will probably be one of the key factors that will support the exports. And then subsidies for export certification and compliances, that is already part of our list and suggestions. And overall, when the general environment for toy manufacturing grows, that is going to help us in reducing our overall cost structure in terms of all the equipment that we are getting, that we are using, the labor that we are using, and the clusters are definitely going to be a big boost for export competitiveness. So all this forms part of our suggestions. So I hope these will help in making our exports more competitive. Next question we have we have time for just one more question, and this is Mr. Anirban Gupta from Kolkata. Anirban ji, can you please be very brief in your questions?
I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Amitabh ji. First, I want to convey my respectful gratitude to our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, distinguished dignitaries, and the esteemed delegates here. I am a small-scale entrepreneur, and I sincerely thank you for this opportunity. As a manufacturer, we often spend more time on troubleshooting problems than growing our business. My question is that how will the government help us in the solving this manufacturing related issues, and how can the industry cluster support us in this regard?
Thank you, Anirban ji. We face the same problem. Most of us are MSMEs and entrepreneurs, and we are spending majority of our time in troubleshooting instead of growth. We totally understand. It's very close to our heart. What our suggestions to the government will be, firstly, our problems, we will try and via a government forum, will present them to IITs, to other government institutes like CDAC, etc., to help solve our manufacturing issues. What are the problems that we are facing, and how can we innovate and solve them? Because I'm sure all the brilliant minds in our IITs who are they can think well beyond what most of us can. So we will try and utilize those avenues, and all the established government bodies like CDAC, etc., who are already working on supporting that electronic component manufacturing, electronic toy manufacturing in India. So that is definitely going to be supportive. Then if you have the scale to upgrade and get your own technology, then there's definitely going to be a capital subsidy that we will ask for. And if you don't have the scale to utilize that machine fully, and you want to use it only part-time, then the common facility centers for key machines, key processes, key trainings can be utilized. So all of this forms part of our suggestions to the government that we ask for to help accelerate the growth of the toy industry.
Thank you, Amitabh ji.
That answers your questions. Thank you, everyone, for your precious insights on accelerating growth of the toy industry. And we hope that this brings positive results, and the results are visible very soon to everyone in the toy trade. Thank you.
Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
हाँ जी। हाँ आवाज तो नहीं आ रही। क्या बाकी किसी का नहीं दिख रहा? अरे यार हाँ, मेरे को यहाँ दूसरे का बड़ा दिख रहा है। एग्जिट नहीं किया लोगों ने अभी तक मीटिंग को। मुझे खुद नहीं पता कि क्या है। अरे पर ये है तो 9 बजे तक है मीटिंग, तो पता नहीं अब क्या है, मुझे खुद नहीं पता। अभी मोदी जी की अलग थी, उसमें भी थे। उसमें से कुछ बोल रहे थे और हम सुन रहे थे, उसमें तो बहुत सारे लोग थे।
हेलो मैम, आप म्यूट कर लो।